Coming up on this edition of DMPS-TV News, see how the district's efforts in expanding advanced placement coursework to all 5 comprehensive high schools are paying off. From the courtroom to the classroom, 3 judges from the Iowa Court of Appeals preside over AP government moot court arguments. See why this 6'8" basketball star paid a visit to elementary students for a school assembly, and find out what the Iowa Secretary of Agriculture thinks of the Agriculture and Horticulture program during his visit. Welcome to DMPS-TV News. I'm your host, Travis Reinders. For the first time ever, all 5 Des Moines high schools are listed among the state's top 50 high schools on the Iowa AP Index. The index ranks how well Iowa high schools provide students with the opportunity to take high-level advanced placement courses. The rankings are based on the number of AP exams taken by students compared to the number of graduates from the spring of 2012.
The top 50 high schools in Iowa are listed, and we've always had participation from Roosevelt High School on that list, and sometimes Hoover has been on that list as well. This year we're anticipating that all 5 of our high schools will make that list for the first time due to the expansion of AP courses and the increased number of AP test takers in all of our high schools.
Des Moines Public Schools held a career fair at East High School, attracting nearly 1,400 people who applied for 300 job openings, which included many teaching positions as well as other support staff vacancies.
We're benefiting from a few different circumstances in Des Moines. We've had 3 consecutive years of increases in student enrollment, and that's really the key reason why we're in the position we're in now. By the time all's said and done, with all areas, both the operations area and instructionally, the teachers, we'll be hiring well over 400 people this year.
More than 500 students from high schools around central Iowa attended the Construction Careers and Education Expo held at the Iron Workers Training Center in Des Moines. During the expo, students participated in construction-related demonstrations and visited with the representatives about careers in the construction field. The Central Iowa Apprentice Coordinating Committee presented the expo.
Some of the apprenticeships have what they call a helper program. They get signed up as helpers and they get to actually try the trade to see if that's what they want to do. And after a 9-month period or a year, then they apply for an apprenticeship program. And they haven't wasted a lot of time. They know after a year if that's something they might want to do the rest of their lives, which is a pretty great thing. All the building trade unions are represented, from the carpenters to the sheet metal workers, operating engineers, also the pipe insulators, cement finishers, bricklayers, they're all here.
3 judges from the Iowa Court of Appeals presided over moot court arguments at East, Hoover, and Roosevelt high schools. It was all part of a lesson on the judicial process for AP government classes. Students participated as attorneys and judges in arguing and deciding on actual cases that were recently argued before the U.S. Supreme Court.
So this will be very helpful for any student, not only if they intend to go to law school, but even to help with their self-esteem and ability to stand up and talk in front of a group.
A group from Sisters for Success, a mentorship program for middle and high school-aged African and African-American girls, paid a visit to the Capitol building to meet local representatives who encouraged the girls to take part in local government.
We were able to sponsor a legislative day for Sisters for Success high school girls. So we have approximately 20 girls from 4 of the 5 high schools and 1 of the middle schools here on campus on the Hill today to learn about the legislative process in order to foster leadership, goal setting, and involvement in the community.
Students at Weeks Middle School had a break from their regular classes to participate in Challenge Day workshops. During the day-long workshops, community members and staff worked with students to talk about philosophies and skills to apply acceptance and compassion in everyday relationships. Challenge Day's vision is that every child will live in a world where they feel safe, loved, and celebrated.
Challenge Day is an experiential one-day program, social and emotional learning, listening. We take a look at why it is that we act some of the ways, kind of hold on to the masks that we have going through school, and the thinking that if we get past some of those, we actually find out that we have a whole lot more in common. So we try and do a whole bunch of games and activities and icebreakers and give people a chance to kind of be real, be comfortable, and find out that when that happens, we end up feeling pretty good about one another. We have a whole lot more in common than we do separate.
They have, it's called Be the Change. And so the students that will be attending this will be part of our Be the Change movement. And we will continue different activities throughout the year and next year, working on leadership skills that the students are developing. They're not going to stand by, they're going to act when they see something that shouldn't be happening, and we will continue to work with those things throughout. This is just kind of our starting stone right here.
A 6'8" basketball player star met King Elementary School students on their level during the school assembly. Royce White of Iowa State University and first-round draft choice by the NBA's Houston Rockets didn't visit with a basketball in hand, but came with an important message for kids.
I stress to them to follow their imagination, allow themselves to imagine, definitely stay in school, continue to learn, and to be fair. To be fair to themselves, to their classmates, to the teachers, and just stress fairness. Yeah.
And King Elementary wasn't the only school to welcome a special visitor. Bill Northey, Iowa Secretary of Agriculture, spent a morning touring the district's agricultural campus, located on the south side of Des Moines near McCombs Middle School. Students in the Agricultural Science and Horticulture program led Secretary Northey through the greenhouse, animal barn, and classrooms. Even though located in a city, the Des Moines FFA chapter is one of the top programs in the state and will be representing Iowa at the National FFA Convention.
I just think ag ed programs are more than just teaching kids about agriculture. That should be enough, and that is great. But it's also about kind of hands-on learning, it's excitement, it's applying some of the science, the math, the reading skills that you learn in other parts of school to a very practical level. And many of us discover that well after high school, how important all those things are. But this is a chance for students to be able to discover it even while they're in high school, why science class still matters, why they need to understand math and be able to participate in speech programs and other kinds of things. But they're very practical for them now.
In the future, I really am looking forward to having that after the fact with the students talking about food science. So after we harvest the animals or harvesting eggs or honey or some other type of byproducts from animals, what do we do with those products? And then and additionally to that is how do we market those products, whether it's through a farmer's market, through selling in individual sales. I'm really excited to kind of couple those things together and really try to make the program a full circle and really show the students that we start here with the science ideas and the science approaches and really carry those all the way through the whole production cycle, all the way to the end and marketing it to a consumer.
The City of Des Moines and several community partners and volunteers planted 69 trees during this year's Arbor Day activities. The city, Right Outdoor Solutions, and Des Moines Public Schools partnered for Arbor Day tree planting projects at East High and Brody Middle School. We joined up with the planting crew made up of students and volunteers at Brody, where they planted 11 trees in front of the school. Goodwill Middle School received an official Gold Award in recognition of its efforts in the Healthier U.S. School Challenge. The campaign is aimed at getting kids more active and eating healthier. The U.S. Department of Agriculture and the Iowa Department of Education honored Goodwill for its hard work. Garden Elementary School held their annual culture fair with the theme of fairy tales and folk tales around the world. Students led their parents around the halls to a variety of activities ranging from face painting to dancing in the gym. Student artwork was displayed in the hallways, and each student was awarded a free book.
We have 16 different languages represented here at Garden, and it's a very exciting time because our students are able to showcase where they've come from and actually bring in different artifacts to share with other students and families.
In celebrating Henwaldt's centennial, the community joined students, staff, and alumni during an open house. Tables were laid out in the gym that broke down a century, decade by decade, with photos and yearbooks. The centerpiece of the celebration was a time capsule that was buried in 1989 on the 75th anniversary. This year's inductees into the Roosevelt Hall of Fame are Randy Duncan and Dr. Kathleen Schwartz. Duncan, of the class of 1955, was a two-sport standout in high school that went on to play football at the University of Iowa and even became the #1 pick in the NFL draft for the Green Bay Packers. He went on to study law and returned to Des Moines, where he has practiced law for over 50 years. Joining him this year is a former pom-pom girl, Dr. Kathleen Schwartz, of the class of 1960. She's the director of the Pediatric Liver Center and a professor of pediatrics at Johns Hopkins Medical Center in Baltimore. She also directs the Pediatric Liver Transplant Program at the world-renowned hospital. The program is far too short to list all of the successes these two have accumulated over the years, but one thing is for certain: the recognition is well-deserved. And that's all we have for you today in this edition of DMPS-TV News. Visit dmschools.org for more on these stories. I'm your host, Travis Reinders. Thanks for watching.